Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, this is Kaur's Life. So as you probably read from the title of this video, and as you look around behind me, you can see that I have moved most of my stuff out of my apartment, and I am unfortunately leaving San Francisco. I'm very sad to say that because the last few years that I have been here in San Francisco have been amazing for me, and it really was a life-changing experience. So I'm going to be talking a little bit more about that in this video. So if you're interested, keep watching and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Before we get started on exactly why I'm leaving San Francisco, I'm just going to give a little bit of a backstory about my experience here and how long I've been here for. So I've been in San Francisco for a little bit over 4 years. I originally came here for professional school back in 2016, and I just graduated in 2020. I really enjoyed my time here in the city. It was great. I got to learn and grow so much. There was so much that San Francisco had to offer, and I think the biggest thing was that I got to make such great lifelong friendships here that I will forever cherish. There's so many great things about San Francisco. I just don't know where I would start. The food here is amazing. The people here are so nice. It's so diverse. Everyone is so culturally aware. And it's such a great place to live, especially if you're in a field where you want to make those connections and just continue to grow. It's amazing that Silicon Valley is so close, and then there's also a whole bunch of different places that you can visit, such as Santa Cruz, Napa Valley, Big Sur, Monterey, and the list is just endless. All around San Francisco, there's such beautiful places to see. There's so much natural beauty, so much water, so much greenery everywhere. It's just such a beautiful city to live in. Even though the list is endless for the amount of wonderful things here in San Francisco, unfortunately my chapter here in San Francisco is coming to an end, and there's a bunch of different reasons why I had to make this hard decision and decide to leave the Bay Area and move on to a different state instead of living in California. So I'm gonna go ahead and tell you exactly why I made this decision and about how I came to this conclusion after much thinking. One of the biggest reasons why I'm leaving San Francisco, which is probably a reason for a lot of people, is that the cost of living is too high here in the Bay Area. And it's kind of true in a lot of different parts of California too, but particularly in San Francisco, it's very expensive just to live in an apartment here, to go ahead and do your day life. It takes a huge chunk of anyone's salary out. So for me, it was a pretty tough decision to decide whether I want to continue to spend so much money on my rent, or if I want to move to a different place in which that huge chunk is not taken out just to pay for my cost of living. I think that with any other state, there's going to be a lot more opportunity to get an apartment or to get a house or anything which is more affordable. You get more value if you go to a different location instead of staying here in the Bay Area, and you get a lot more older houses for much expensive prices. So just price-wise, for anyone who's not aware of the San Francisco pricing, apartments here, especially if you are planning on living alone, a studio apartment can range from about $2,000 to around like $2,400. A one-bedroom apartment can range from like $2,400, $2,500 up until like $6,000, depending on where you're staying, whether that's in downtown San Francisco and Financial District or a little bit more in the residential area. And these are prices you pay per month, which is very expensive if you plan on living here long term. And then if you're planning on buying a house, it is pretty much impossible to find a house here less than $1 million. They are way above $1 million, especially if you want to get one in which you don't have to invest a lot of money to renovate it or to fix it up or anything. So because of that, I decided it's probably time for me to move somewhere where I don't have to worry about that extra financial burden on top of me spending so much just to stay in a city that I love. Instead, I can try to find another location and get more value out of my dollar that I spend. Another reason why I decided to leave San Francisco is because of the field that I am in. A lot of the jobs here are very saturated and it's very hard to find a job within the city. So a lot of times you have to work farther outside the city and then commute, and the commute here just takes so long, especially if you have to go across the bridge, whether it's the Bay Bridge or Golden Gate Bridge. So I know a lot of people who do commute across the bridge and they have to leave extra early to avoid that rush hour traffic. I am personally in the healthcare profession, so for me, the health profession here, there are a lot of jobs available. It's just there's a lot of people who are already working here, and because of the limited locations and the limited space available, there's not that many new offices and clinics opening up that I can actually go and apply to and work for. So all of the older ones, there have been people working here for a very long time, or people are opening their own clinics, and it's great if you can invest that money and get started that way, or if you have connections and you can partner with someone. But for me in my current time, I think that I would rather go and seek another job opportunity instead of staying here and going through that struggle. So I know that is true for a lot of different professions too. The good thing is that, you know, if you are in tech, there's so many different companies here and they're just constantly growing. It's a great field to be in. If you want to be in the Bay Area, you can find jobs a lot more easily, and you know, you can stay here and live up with that lifestyle. But currently for me with my healthcare profession, I personally would not want to continue to stay here. And then another reason why I decided to leave San Francisco is because of the current pandemic going on. Instead of staying here and trying to quarantine and social distance, I think it's better for me to go elsewhere. That way I can save that money on rent. Over here, usually in San Francisco, people come here because of all of the connections they can make, the food scene they can explore, the locations they can see, the beautiful nature they can explore. But with the current situation, it's very hard for us to do any of that, and it's very important for us to take those precautions and stay indoors and try to social distance and quarantine, and I try my best to follow those precautions. So instead of me continuing to stay here in San Francisco and continuing to pay that rent just to kind of stay in my apartment most of the time and do work from home, I think it's better for me to go elsewhere. So that basically sums up the main reasons why I decided to leave San Francisco. It's very hard for me to make this decision. I really enjoyed my 4 years here. There's just so much that I got to explore, got to see so many friends I got to make, so many different people I got to connect with, so many beautiful memories, and I'm gonna include a little snippet at the end of my experience here, my 4 years, basically in a short clip showing exactly the experience you have if you're living in San Francisco. And that doesn't mean that in the future I won't be coming back. I will definitely visit back San Francisco. It is one of the most amazing cities that I've ever lived in, and it's definitely a place which is very close to my heart. I would definitely come back to San Francisco. There's just so much more left to explore, so much that I haven't seen yet. But I'm not sure yet if I'm going to live again in San Francisco. I guess only time will tell. But for now, we shall see the city and the state that I will be moving to. Thank you so much for joining me on my journey up until now. If you're interested in more, don't forget to give this video a like, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Also check out my Instagram page if you want to see my experience here in San Francisco. I have a ton of different food recommendations there and just places to visit here in the Bay Area. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you all enjoyed it, and for now, goodbye San Francisco.